I think I really underestimated the impact he had until about 24, until about 18 hours ago or whatever it might have been. And I'm kind of mad at myself for not being in tune with him more. Now, there's things that we don't agree on. Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying that he championed everything that I think I agree with, whether it be, Christianity and religion and these things. And I know that I'm sure there's a ton of arguments out there. If I were to sift through them, that I'd be like, oh yeah, don't agree here, don't agree there. But that's not really what this is about. The thing I think that sticks with me the most is the fact that from all accounts, Charlie Kirk was a very moderate, conservative voice. This was a guy who not only encouraged, but he welcomed and urged open debate and open conversation and open discussion with people that disagreed with him and that he disagreed with, and vice versa. And I see a lot of myself, and I understand a lot of myself in that type of discourse. If you guys have been watching my stuff and have seen me around for the past couple of years or however long you've been in this space and seen me, I'm kind of an intense guy, right? I'm a pretty cynical guy. You guys know how I have my stances on a lot of these issues. And above all, you guys know that my stay plan and the go plan are the same. Find your tribe, draw a perimeter, keep all of the people out until they've earned their way in, and protect the people that you love, fervently and viciously if people try to come and do you and your loved ones harm. And I think the tough part is because, I've been telling you guys a little bit over the last couple of weeks that I've been trying to make more content, trying to put more clips out on YouTube and Instagram and mostly TikTok, where the vitriol and the venom, it always comes from the leftists or the disagreeers or the liberal side first. I've always maintained that I will have a conversation with anyone about anything as long as they're willing to engage earnestly and honestly. If somebody wanted to have an open and real and honest conversation with me, I don't care if they've got the purple hair and the nose ring and the tattoos and the dog fucking collar or whatever it is. I may be like, but I don't know, man. Maybe that's something you should be considering and thinking about. But if they're willingly going to come to a conversation with me and say, hey, I'd like to discuss these ideas, cool, I'm open to it. It seems that is all for naught. And it seems that anybody that may be trying to engage from that side is not doing it earnestly, is not doing it honestly. They're doing it, to be seen and to get attention, because anybody that acts like that or looks like that or desecrates their body or their hair color or anything like that, or chooses to let themselves get morbidly obese, they hate themselves and they hate their appearance. Not only that, they can't get attention. So this is a cry for help and this is a cry for attention. But they approach these conversations under the veil of looking for actual dialogue, when in reality, they just want attention. And then the minute you say, actually, no, I'm not going to give in to that, or I disagree with that point, there's no walking away. It's venom, it's vitriol, it's name calling. That's the majority of what it is. Even if somebody starts off a conversation like, oh, I actually think you're missing this. It's like, no, like I already looked at that. Like that's off base. Like, sorry, like try again. It's not the reality of the situation. Well, then you're an incel and you should kill yourself. Right? Like that's how it goes with these people. And I think the tough part again is that I also had a little more humanity for these people. And I tried to give these people a benefit of the doubt quite a bit, because when you see somebody on a screen, they're not really a person. They're just an avatar. They're just somebody online. Like in all likelihood, everybody watching this video, or most people watching this video, will never meet me in real life, will never shake my hand, will never look me in the eye, will never break bread with me. And it's the same thing for a lot of you guys following guys like Rich or whoever online. Like the vast majority of you guys are never going to meet these people. And the vast majority of the people that are watching this, they're so driven by their emotions, or the leftists and the liberals, they're so driven by their emotions. And because these people don't live in the real world for the most part, these are people that can barely leave their houses. These are people that make TikToks laying back on their bed because they can't get up and wash themselves or take a shower or get their fat ass to the gym or whatever it be. they don't live in the real world. They're perpetually online. They're not out there doing anything of merit. They're not putting a dent in the universe. They're parasites on our society, and they're making excuses for it. And it's everybody else's fault that they're playing this perpetual victim. And so because of that, they get all of their cues about the way the world works through movies and TV and mainstream media and magazine and internet pundits whose entire job is to invoke emotion out of you. A movie maker and a filmmaker and people that want to make comments and content on the internet and news, because black and white facts don't get clicks. Invoking emotion in people, evoking some sort of visceral response in people gets them going, gets clicks, gets them up in arms, which means you get more attention, which means you sell more ad space, which means you make more money. So this idea of just, the straight facts or whatever it is without some sort of bias or slant is extremely rare and is maybe dead at this point, as we can kind of see. But the fact that these people are not only, they're celebrating this man's death, and they are dancing on the grave of this man as if he is a villain in a movie, as if he is a fictional character that they were told they must hate, and they see no humanity in this man whatsoever. And I think one of the worst parts about this entire thing is the tragic irony of it all. This idea that Charlie's on record and he's on video saying, the whole reason that I do this, the whole reason that I started this is because I want to show people, or I want to encourage people, that we can still have conversations with people that we disagree with, and we can still live amongst them. It doesn't mean you have to invite them to your dinner table. It doesn't mean you have to have them over for the holidays. It doesn't mean that you have to fucking make a part of your family. It just means that there's no reason for us to want to kill each other, because he even said, he says, when we stop looking at each other as humans, and when our humanity is gone, and we say those people are subhuman or less than human, that's when violence and fighting starts. That's when people start to take up in arms. And that's the unfortunate reality. And a man who spent the majority of his career having conversations with people. And as far as I'm aware, the common narrative from the left at this point is, he's spreading hate, vitriol, hate, racism, like whatever the isms you guys want, right? These abstract terms that don't really mean anything anymore. This idea like racist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, all of these things that maybe 10 or 15 years ago, people would be like, oh no, I don't want to be that. And now they're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, call me whatever the fuck you want, because it doesn't change. Because either we fight back against this while being called sexist and racist and misogynist and homophobic and xenophobic and a fascist and a Nazi, or we get divided and conquered while we're being called racist and sexist and misogynistic and homophobic and xenophobic and neo-Nazi and fascist. It doesn't matter. These people have their minds already made up about the people on the right and conservative folks. And the thing that's, again, I keep coming back to, is that I don't expect there to be any sort of jumping off point, or I don't think people are saying this is it, like this is the boiling point and this is the tipping point. And I was one of those guys yesterday. You guys should have seen me in the group chat. I was going nuts. And it's, one of the guys had this harsh and sobering reality, I think, where he goes, you know what? Like, it's not going to do, like, no one's going to do anything on the right. Like, conservatives aren't going to do shit because they have things to do. They have families to take care of. They have work that needs to be done. They have money that needs to be made. They have businesses that need to be maintained. They have structures that they've built that they need to keep up with so they can continue to insulate themselves and keep themselves away from all of this bullshit. The people that are burning fucking cities down and that are rioting and looting in the streets and that are burning buildings and that are setting things on fire and causing all of this nonsense are the people that don't have any time, that have nothing but time on their hands. they're idle. They have nothing going for them. They don't have anything to lose. So it means they have there's nothing for them to lose. So why wouldn't they act out in this way? And that's, I think, the sad reality of the world that we live in now. I don't think there's any meaningful pushback. I don't think what actually needs to be done to course correct will ever be done. I don't think it's even a possibility. And I'm not going to go into what I think should be done, because I don't want anyone to say I'm inciting anything or I'm calling for anything, which I'm not. The anger is not displaced, but what we talk about on this channel and the way that we talk about building a tribe and coming together with people that look like you, walk like you, talk like you, act like you, care about the things that you do, it's never been more important. There's an entire group of people that hates you in the way of life and the way that you live. They have no interest in a respectful dialogue. They only care about attention. And the worst part about these people is that even when it comes to a disagreement, or even when it comes to even being wrong on something, from what I've seen, people like Charlie, people like me, people like these conservative pundits, people on the right side, they are perfectly happy to agree to disagree, or they're even happy to admit they're wrong and say, well, okay, I was mistaken on that, or you're right. That's a good point. And they can concede that. Like, if I were to say something like, hey, X, Y, Z, ABC, and then somebody corrects me, they're like, actually, no, you're off base on that. I was like, actually, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. That's actually a good point. I'll reflect more on that. And that's the end of that's it. That's the end of it. That's the end of the exchange. It's cool. I will concede this point. We can move forward amicably or not at all, either one. But it's not like that for these people. These people have no honor. Winning is not enough for these people. They can't just win. They have to dance and spit on your grave after they've done it.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here, where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.